father? Aren't you cold?
No. What are you reading?
The Dance of Dragons.
What's it about?
It's the story of the fight between Rhaenyra Targaryen and her half-brother Aegon for control of the Seven Kingdoms. Both of them thought they belonged on the Iron Throne. When people started declaring for one of them or the other, their fight divided the kingdoms in two. Brothers fought brothers. Dragons fought dragons. By the time it was over, thousands were dead. And it was a disaster for the Targaryens as well. They never truly recovered.
The Dance of Dragons. Why is that a dance?
It's just what they call it.
Doesn't make much sense.
I think it's poetic.
If you'd had to choose between Rhaenyra and Aegon, who would you have chosen?
I wouldn't have chosen either. It's all the choosing sides that made everything so horrible.
Welcome to the Unreal Hour.
Hi there and welcome to our show. I'm Fiona.
And I'm Emma. This is Season 2, Episode 3 of House of the Dragon. It's called The Burning Mill.
It is, and that is a pivotal moment in Georgie's books, and I think they've done it justice, don't you?
Yes, yeah, I would say so.
So this episode was directed by Geeta Vasant Patel and written by David Hancock, who is known for The Crown.
Oh, cool.
So overall thoughts, what did you think?
It was a very talky episode.
It was the calm before the storm I've got here.
Yeah, I would go with that.
But for a very talky episode, I missed the stunning dialogue of last week's episode.
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
I mean, they got across all the points that they needed to get across and things, but just not quite so eloquently.
No, but there was a few funnies, which was
yes, there
good.
was.
That was welcome.
Yes, definitely. So let's just get into it. What would you like to talk about first?
Oh, it has to be that opening scene.
The Battle of the Burning Mill, eh?
Yeah, literally we saw the mill burning. Well, the aftermath of it.
Yeah, so forgetting their names for a second there. So the Brackens and the Blackwoods are the Hatfield and McCoys of Westeros. I've got a quote here from Sir Simon Strong. And it says, House Bracken and House Blackwood have long detested one another. And Daemon says, why? It says, well, the answer to that is lost in time. Sin begets sin begets sin. But I looked into it. I want to go back a wee bit further. I watched some YouTube videos and found some bits and scribbled down some bits and pieces here and there. Had a wee look through World of Ice and Fire.
Cool.
And here's what I found. Now, this one I've written down and I have no idea. I'm sorry. I didn't take a note of which YouTube video I got this bit from.
There's so many.
I can't give credit to the creator of that video, unfortunately. But he's quoting from one of the books, not sure which one, and says, it goes back to the age of heroes. The Blackwoods were kings in those days. The Brackens were petty lords, renowned for breeding horses. Rather than pay their king his due, they used the gold their horses brought them to hire swords and cast him down. And then the Brackens say, before the Andals came to Westeros, House Bracken ruled this river. We were kings and the Blackwoods were our vassals, but they betrayed us and usurped the crown.
Oh, well, we'll never know, really.
We will never know. But I found some really interesting stuff in the books of the war, in the World of Ice and Fire. So, give me a sec. So, World of Ice and Fire says that the Blackwoods and the Brackens both claim to have ruled the Riverlands at various times during the Age of Heroes. However, the first of the Andal kings to bring all of the Riverlands under his sway was a bastard born of a tryst between two ancient enemies, the Blackwoods and the Brackens.
Ah, okay.
As a boy, he was Benedict Rivers, despised by all. But he grew to be the greatest warrior of his age. Sir Benedict the Bold, his prowess in battle won him the support of both his mother's house and his father's, and soon other river lords bent their knees to him as well. It required more than 30 years for Benedict to throw down the last of the petty kings of the Trident. Only when the last had yielded did he don a crown himself. Interesting. He named his house House Justman, and the House Justman ruled the Riverlands for close on to 3 centuries, the chronicles tell us. Their line was ended when Corrid Hoare, king of the Iron Islands, murdered the sons of King Bernard II while they were held captive in Pike.
Oh, that's really interesting.
And that is when House Hoare invades the Riverlands, and he was the grandfather of Harren the Black.
Oh, right, okay.
So there we go. So that is a little bit of back history on them. There's also a really interesting story here, and maybe this is one of the reasons why they don't get along. But when the Riverland lords were fighting back against Harren's granddad, the Blackwoods tried to launch an attack, or was it an escape? It was either an attack or an escape. Hang on. Yes, Lord Turret abandoned River Run without a fight, fleeing with all his strength to join the host gathering at Ravensree Hall under Lady Agnes Blackwood and her sons. But when Lady Agnes advanced upon the Ironborn, her belligerent neighbour Lord Lothar Bracken fell upon her rear with all his strength and put her men to flight. Lady Agnes herself and 2 of her sons... All right, okay, yeah. Right, okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I heard it too.
I really tried.
So he attacked from the back.
Doesn't matter what way you say it.
No, it doesn't. There's just no good way to say that, is there? And Lady Agnes herself and 2 of her sons were captured and delivered to King Harwin, who forced the mother to watch as he strangled her boys with his bare hands. Yet Lady Agnes did not weep, if the tales are true. I have other sons, she told the King of the Iron Isles. Ravensree shall endure long after you and yours are cast down and destroyed. Your line shall end in blood and fire.
Oh, well, she wasn't wrong.
Well, she wasn't wrong, but maybe that's just been embellished over time to suit what happened later.
Yeah.
But still cool, though. Maybe, the Blackwoods are, they worship the old gods. They're of the first men and stuff. Maybe she really did put a curse on House Hoare. And they end in fire and blood, as we know.
I'd like to believe that story.
But we'll get to that later when we talk about Harrenhal.
Yay!
But yes, so the opening scene, wow, absolutely outstanding, wasn't it?
It was.
It was the sheer... Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the scene of devastation, the impact that had. I'm a bit sad we didn't get to see a battle.
No, but I think that it portrayed exactly what is going to come. The greenness, the youth of these young boys, and then it cuts to everyone's dead.
Yes.
All these bodies, the mill's burnt, the land's blackened.
All over a couple of boundary stones.
Yeah.
Because, as they say later at the Green Council meeting, that they'll use any excuse to fight. Actually, let's hear that scene.
Forgive my lateness.
Important business, no doubt.
You've appointed new knights to the Kingsguard, Your Grace.
To replace those we lost.
The last one needlessly, some might say.
Sir Alaric was awarded the great duty of ending Rhaenyra's challenge. He failed to discharge it.
He failed because the scheme was rash.
Perhaps, Your Grace, but we cannot all hide in our castles waiting for war to come to us.
As now it surely will.
As now, it already has. House Bracken took it upon themselves to attack the Blackwoods, who declared for the Pretender. Lord Samuel Blackwood himself is slain.
Good. First blood in our name.
Both sides took heavy losses, Your Grace. I'm not entirely certain we can declare this a victory. The Blackwoods and the Brackens have feuded for centuries. This is nothing more than an excuse for them to indulge their ancient grudge. It's no true war.
Call it what you will. I call it war. And so will Dragonstone. The question is, what are we going to do about it?
Yes, well, what are you going to do about it? So, yeah, this eternal feud has been the first thing to trigger first blood. Well, not first blood. The first blood was the children. But first battle blood. All over some boundary stones. And it made me think about the Princess Shireen talking to Stannis Baratheon and talking about how it was all the choosing sides that caused all the problems in the first place. And yeah, that couldn't be more evident than in this particular episode. And I think that's the theme of the episode going forward, because it's where Daenerys, start again. Where did that come from? I've been watching Dany videos today. Where Rhaenyra and Aegon's story is heading. Yeah. So what were do you have any other notes on the scene?
No more notes on that scene.
It was pretty cool. Did you see the behind the scenes?
I did.
It was really, really cool. This prosthetic, what's his name? Which Bracken was he? I can't remember. I want to say Aaron.
I can't remember either.
I want to say Aaron Bracken. But anyway, whichever one he was, they made this prosthetic version of him to have him lying in the river afterwards. That sword in his throat.
It was so, I mean, I don't want to use the word lifelike because he was dead, but, you know.
Yeah, good point.
It really could have been an actor lying.
It was very, very good.
It was really cool.
And I think that one of the guys, one of the crew had mentioned that in the thing. It was so cool to be able to have an actor in one scene, 1 second, and then the next scene have a prosthetic dead version of him lying there, and you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Very, very good. And of course, the burning mill in the background was CGI.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. So one of those iconic moments of the Dance of Dragons. And yeah, it was very impactful. So that means it's my turn.
It is your turn, yeah.
Excellent. What would I like to talk about? So, just to lead on from that, then let's talk about the Cargill funeral and Rhaenyra's rather intense conversation, which I think helps highlight what we've just said as well.
Absolutely.
And of course, it's Rhaenys, and Rhaenys has to get a slot in her clips.
Otto Hightower would never have allowed this.
No, he would not.
No.
Hotter blood has prevailed, I think.
She's so wise.
The young men have taken the bit in their teeth. They wish to punish, to avenge. Soon they will not even remember what it was that began the war in the first place.
That is easy enough. They usurped my throne.
That is one answer. Or was it when the child was beheaded? Or when Aemond killed Luke? Or when Luke took Aemon's eye? We teeter now at the point where none of it will matter.
Or was it when Aegon was born?
Yeah.
When the desire to kill and burn takes hold and reason is forgotten. There may be another way. Alicent Hightower.
When last we met, Alicent said I would make a fine queen. You've seen what has happened since then.
She came to me in the hours after your Lord Father's death. She knows war is coming, and that it'll be savage beyond all compare. There is no war so hateful to the gods as a war between kin. And no war so bloody as a war between dragons. I do not believe she wants it.
She sent a raven. I do not care to read her message. What she did.
It is not her, but the men around her who seek bloodshed.
She permitted it.
As you permitted the murder of a little boy in his bed.
She's spot on.
Yep. Absolutely. Rhaenyra's face at that moment was like, oh shit, yeah.
Alicent is in King's Landing. Her son sits my throne. There is nothing more to be said.
Well, yeah, she's been a bit stubborn there.
She is. It's not black and white.
It's not. And as we know, she changes her mind and decides to give Alicent the time of day at least. But shall we just talk about that now?
Yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah, let's get into that. So what did you think of this scene, which, of course, never happened in the books?
I really like that this has happened. I just love the penny drops moment.
Yes.
On their faces. And Rhaenyra's like, oh, shit. And Alicent's like, oh,
yeah.
Shit. And then she just, it's a split second. And then she goes to, oh, there's fuck all we can do about it. So, nope. And she goes back into her sort of denial mode.
Yes, exactly. She really does ponder it for a moment, though, and she's like, oh, fuck. But
here we are.
There's no point shutting the stable door once the horse is already bolted.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
So I think, and it's out of her control now. Like Rainey said, hotter blood has prevailed.
It was never within her control anyway. Otto was the puppet master.
There was a time when Viserys was still around, that in his final couple of years, where Alicent had some real power. But at the same time, that was because she was in alignment with her father. If she had tried to go against her father, things would have been different, because he was the one that was sitting that throne in Viserys' place, not her.
He was, and he already had the council moving the chess pieces towards making Aegon king.
Yeah.
At no point did he see any other way ahead.
No, definitely not.
So even if Viserys had never said what he said, if Alicent had never confirmed what she thought he said, this all still would have happened, because they wanted it to be so.
Absolutely. Alicent played a very small part in the execution of the plan.
Yeah.
In fact, to be honest with you, at the very beginning, Alicent was working against Otto for control of Aegon.
Yeah.
So she'd sent Kristen Cole and Aemond after him, while he sent the Cargill twins after him. So right from the beginning, she was working against him, not with him. So the events would have played out exactly as they played out. Yeah. You're right. And again, it's one of those scenes, it's like, some people will be like, that didn't happen in the book. And to them, I answer, if George intended that to be the case, Fire and Blood would still read the same.
Yeah.
Because it's a historical record, not a freaking diary. It's not like we've got Rhaenyra and Alicent's diaries to go on. No, that what happened between those two is between those two, and it wouldn't go down in a historical record. So, loved Rhaenyra in the moment when she came in at the beginning with the dagger.
Yeah.
And Alicent's like, shit, she's going to stab me. And she's like, no, this isn't what I meant. I've started all wrong.
Yeah. I did think that. I thought, oh, that was a bad move.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
But she kind of needed it at the same time. It's like she needed some sort of...
Yeah, you catch more with sugar than you do a stick, Rhaenyra. Come on.
Well, she got there in the end, because she is who she is. But, she went in armed because somebody probably went, here, take this. Yeah, it was an intense conversation. It was very satisfying for me, for them to have that conversation. There's part of me that kind of wished it was last week with the beautiful dialogue. Yeah. It was a bit clunky. I felt the dialogue was a bit clunky.
But their face acting was so good.
They acted it so well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the point was made.
Yeah.
In the end, I feel like Rhaenyra would have said it better. But one of the moments that kind of got me as well was that moment when Alicent had almost convinced Rhaenyra that her dad really had chose Aegon.
Yeah.
And Rhaenyra's face.
She looked so sad. She looked so disappointed.
I know. Our wee heart broke until she said Aegon's dream. Or a prince that was promised. That was it. She said that was the trigger. And that completely changed her. It's changed everything. That now she's like, well, if it's too late, it's too late. We're now off to war. And this, like I said at the beginning, this episode is the calm before the storm. It was the last-ditch attempt to stop the war before it starts. And kudos to Rhaenyra for making that attempt, because that was against every bit of advice that she's been given. But I liked it.
Apart from Rhaenys.
Yes, yeah, well, apart from Rhaenys. But she's so wise.
She is, she's fantastic. She always sees the right way.
She's very pragmatic.
Yeah.
And she's very good at sidestepping the emotion of a situation and just seeing it for exactly what it is. She's very observant. She's always watching everyone, paying attention to every little thing that they're doing and every little ideal that they're pushing. And I think what impresses her about Rhaenyra the most is Rhaenyra's ability to show restraint.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fantastic. Must be your turn.
Yeah.
What we're going to talk about next.
We are going to talk about... Yeah, I'd like to continue talking about Alicent, but if we go back to the Green Council meeting...
Yes.
I think all through this episode... She's really trying to get everyone to just fucking behave. Just stop. Stop with your bickering and...
Oh, yeah.
It's so hard for her. She's lost her voice.
Definitely.
They're all taken over. Even there's another part with her and Helena.
Actually, I clipped the scene with Helena.
Oh, great.
I loved it. Do you know... Aside from Harrenhal, I think it was probably my favourite scene in the episode, because of Helena.
I think this is one of my favourite Alicent episodes.
Yeah, definitely. Let's hear the clip.
Cool.
I feel sad about Jaehaerys, but I ought not to, I think. People die all the time, especially babes. They're so little. So they're taken so easily.
Sadness is a condition of motherhood.
There's naught to be gained from it. That horrid procession where the small folk all stared at me. I warrant they thought I had no more right to grief than they do. Surely they lose their babes more than highborn ladies.
Aww.
The stranger comes for us all. Queen and commoner. You have as much claim to grief as anyone.
And you?
I love Jaehaerys, but my concern has been more for you and what you have endured. Helena,
I forgive you.
What?
I said that I forgive you.
And that right there is Helena giving Alicent the absolution that she was looking for all through the last episode. And she wasn't ready then. It was too soon.
Yeah.
But it just shows how empathic she is, that while she wasn't ready to deal with Alicent's shit last week, she remembered that she needed that, and she gave it when she could.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely something you need to hear. But what about Alicent stood out for you in this scene?
Oh, I just think she never says the right thing. Bless her.
She really doesn't.
All through even the previous one we discussed with Rhaenyra, she never says the right thing. She's always so stuck in her own self.
Yeah.
And she's usually quite hard to watch, but I really enjoyed this episode, and I really enjoyed this scene that she seemed to be a mother for once,
finally.
rather than being completely stuck within herself and her own guilt.
And her shame.
She let a little bit of it out, saying, yes, I love Jaehaerys, but I'm concerned for you.
Yeah.
So nice to see her being a proper mother, as far as she can.
Yes, absolutely. But she didn't exactly have...
Not going to lie, I did chuckle a wee bit when she said, I forgive you. And she was like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's a big forgive, really, because the bottom line is if Alicent hadn't been banging Kristen, he probably would have been in the hallway.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big forgive.
It is, but if,
But
Daemon hadn't
sent
them, and if Aemond hadn't done this, and yada yada.
And if Luke hadn't took Aemon's eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Aegon hadn't been born.
If Emma Arryn hadn't died, and
Yeah. Balon the Brave hadn't died.
How far back do we go?
Well, we could go on a long time. Okay, I want to talk about Curly, Larry and Mo. Which actually leads into another thing as well, so we'll probably get two topics out of this conversation. But first of all, I just need to say, who the hell are these clowns? Right? Like, Aegon has appointed his bumbling drinking buddies to save his life. During time of war as well. During a time of war when people are sneaking into your castle and murdering your children.
Yeah.
In an attempt to murder your brother. And you've got these three for guard. What is he thinking?
He's just thinking, when you've been promoted to manager somewhere and your mate applies for a job and you know they're absolutely useless, but you'll have such good banter, and you give them the job and they're fucking useless.
So you're talking about me?
No, not actually.
I'm just thinking, there was that time when you were the manager in that pub and then you got me the job and we had great banter. I was good at my job.
You were good at your job, but there have been others that I have taken on that have been less proficient at their job, but oh my God, what a good laugh we've had.
Oh, those were some good times.
We were.
Remember the open mics?
Yes.
Oh, it was so fun. Oh, but yeah, you're right. It is. It's just that, you've got a promotion, so you're going to make sure your mates
Absolutely.
are all sorted.
And his personal guards have to be with him all the time. So
yeah,
who better than your best buddies that you get drunk with, even though they're useless at the job?
Absolutely. But let's hear the clip, because this is so funny.
Shall we escort you to the dragon pit, Your Grace?
I think mayhaps I shall fly another day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does seem wise on reflection.
You could come out with us, my king. Sir Martin has a new squire that wants bedding in.
He's never fucked a woman.
You're sworn to chastity now.
Of course, Your Grace.
Oh, the look they get here is brilliant.
Yes, Your Grace.
Oh, dear. But he goes with them anyway.
Yeah.
I think he just needed to exert his authority in that moment. And yeah, like they did really need to be put in their place.
They totally did.
But at the same time, like you said, there's a reason why he's got these guys around him, because they're his mates, and he's just going to go back to default mode, which is drinking and whoring.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Oh, I don't know how these guys got, like seriously.
It wasn't for their merits.
No, I hope they never see battle. Okay, so like I say, that this one kind of leads into the other. They end up going out drinking, which is where we come across the scene with Ulf.
Oh, yeah.
The local storyteller. Right, what's his deal? Like,
he seems like he's a master of tall tales.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. Certainly seems a bit far-fetched to me. How dare you? Balon and Alyssa were in love. I don't see Balon dating on Alyssa. I just don't. I mean, it's medieval times and men will have their ways and all the rest of it, but like, Alyssa Targaryen was absolutely badass. Like, she was cool, and theirs was a proper love story, as well as, you know, a sibling marriage.
Yeah.
They grew up together. They were very close in age, and we always knew that they were going to be married. It was
they're not an Aegon and Helena situation.
No, they are not.
They're
not at all.
the most far removed from it.
Absolutely, they're probably the greatest love story next to Jaehaerys and Alysanne.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found that like a bit mad. So I'm like, how dare you? I don't buy that. I mean, I've totally lost my chain of thought. Give me a sec.
I did love that when he was telling his tall tale, and then Aegon comes in and he's like, "Oh shit, run!"
Yeah, definitely. It was so funny though. I mean, like he pissed his pants.
Yeah, totally did.
And then it is like after he's like, yeah, drinks for everyone. Did you notice Diana in the scene?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you remember Diana from last season? She was the servant girl.
Oh.
She's the one that the guy that was Ulf's friend slapped in the ass.
Well spotted.
Yeah, so good to see that she's
still employed.
Still employed, and she seems in good spirits. But like, you know, she was not happy at getting slapped in the ass. Like there was, but instead of fear, I saw rage.
Yeah,
she was angry, and like, good for her, bit of fire about her. But good to see her again. So that's me done. What you got?
Oh, go on then. Let's talk about Larys.
Oh, Larys. Well, yeah, I mean, he was in that scene with Curly, Larry and Mo, wasn't he? God. Well, there's a few things we could talk about Larys, but first of all, just like that, again, was a masterclass in manipulation.
It was. I just love this guy. He's horrendous, but he's so hilarious at the same time. He totally kills me off.
Yeah, good to see him using his powers for good in this occasion.
Yeah, I think Matthew Needham has got to be one of my faves because he's just got that down, that creepy, manipulating little worm. He's so, even looking at him, he's so creepy.
He talks barely above a whisper.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Yeah. You know who else was good at that? Did you ever watch 24 with Kiefer Sutherland?
I did not.
Right, well, I watched it all.
I think I was drinking and whoring at that time in life.
Fair enough.
That's in my Aegon era.
I was working in bars and coming home and binging that. Might have took a couple of days off round about season 3. Got well sucked in. But yes, Kiefer Sutherland in 24, even when he was shouting, it was a whisper. He shouted like that. It's like, how do you do that? How do you shout and whisper at the same time?
Whisper shout. I bet my kids wish I could whisper shout.
Yeah, I can think of a few people that wish I could whisper shout too. But yeah, Laris is brilliant. Do you have any other notes on the scene in general, or would you like to hear it?
I'd like to hear it because my notes did say Matthew Needham is awesome.
Yeah, so let's hear him.
Valyrian steel. Worth more than a castle.
A sight to stir the passions. Aegon the Conqueror reborn.
Oh, these guys.
Just get on with it.
At once, Your Grace.
What is your business?
There are rumours that the king readies himself to fly to war.
What is it to you?
Only that I think it would benefit all of us to prevent our king from being brutally slain by our enemies and his body parts scattered to beasts and his court come to ruin, which I
I love it. Go, Laris.
What exquisite armour.
I was given the Conqueror's name and his crown, so I shall wear his armour to war. I fly to meet Sir Criston.
Small imposition before you depart, then, Your Grace. There are diverse rumours whispered on the streets of your city. One such is that Your Grace sends his forces to battle, and in his courage and wisdom flies with them. Another is that his Grace was outwitted by his councillors and persuaded to fly to war with Sir Criston, so the Queen Alicent may reign in his absence.
Oh, you little worm!
Oh, he's so
with Prince
evil.
Aemond at her side.
She's obviously not showing him her feet anymore.
Absurd, of course.
Obviously.
Keeping her tootsies to herself.
Who spreads these lies?
Matters little. Tales take on a life of their own.
When you spin them, Laris.
Weeds, unless they are tended.
Well, tend to them then. Lord Laris, my father always said he had no use for a master of whisperers. And yet, I find myself wanting for one. I should be glad of your talents.
And there he goes with that little creepy exit face.
Oh, I know.
I love it.
You honour me, Your Grace.
He doesn't walk away, he skulks away.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so... Ugh. But Matthew.
He's
Matthew
such
love.
a he's
So
such a
much
great
Matthew
actor.
love.
He's brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that was fab. He was so good in that scene.
I just feel, listening to it back, it's like, let's all be a little more Laris.
Yeah.
He's such a little weirdo.
Oh, definitely. But he knows how to get what he wants.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's so subtle with it. I mean, when you're listening to it, it's kind of obvious, but if you're invested in what he's talking about and your emotions are triggered, you could easily fall for that crap. Like, he's so clever. He knows exactly which buttons to push.
He does. And let's not skim over Tom Glyn Carney's absolutely wonderful Aegon acting.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's just, I am the puppet on the string. It's so amazing. Just love that
so
scene.
good. It's the way his face changes when he's like, oh, right, okay.
And you can just see the inside of Laris going, rubbing his little hands together. He's rubbing someone else's feet together in his mind. He's an awful creature.
Oh, he is.
He's the best, though. He's so weird. I think that maybe says more about me than it does about him.
I don't know. I find him horribly weird, but at the same time,
he's horribly hilarious.
It's brilliant. I can't stop watching. It's like a car crash.
Love it.
One thing we do need to talk about from that scene is that armour.
It's fantastic.
It is absolutely stunning. And they said in the VT, I've got it here, it said that it took 24 weeks to make. So it was 20 weeks to make the armour and then another 4 weeks for the detail, the inscription and Valyrian symbols and the ornate of it. It's just stunning. That bespoke piece took like 6 months nearly. Is it any wonder we're waiting 2 years for a season?
Yeah.
When it takes that long. And for how long was that armour on the screen?
Oh, minutes.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll see it again. But for now, it's, a few minutes and God. And, because it's bespoke and it's like made to fit Tom, if they do the spin-off of Aegon's conquest, they'll probably have to make a whole new suit of armour for that guy.
Oh, I love that's where your brain went. My brain went, that's him sorted for Comic-Con forever.
Yeah, yours is better. I like the way your brain works on that one. But yeah, I'm just thinking about further. How can they use that armour again? It took so much work.
Yeah.
But it was stunning, utterly stunning. Loved it.
It's your turn. What you got next?
Oh, my turn. Okay, I got a little... I've got a small one here. I want to talk about Brandon.
Okay.
Did you not notice all the Brandon?
No, I did not.
Right. So the first scene we see the outside of the courtyard, they're dropping the banners and it's the gold dragon on the green.
Yeah.
This is Aegon. This is a significant moment in the book when Aegon changed his banners and Rhaenyra, rather than changing her banners, quartered hers with House Velaryon.
Okay.
They really made a big show of it in this episode. So we see these banners being dropped, but see the moment when the army's getting ready to leave, right? Everything is just branded, right? Every shield, every cloak, every... like the banners are everywhere. They're they've got their standard bearers. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was like on the side of wagons and everything. It was just like, it was so funny. And it just made me think about the cat from Red Dwarf going, this is mine, and this is mine, and all this is mine. It's just Aegon tagging everything in sight. But yeah, Brandon, hilarious. I just thought it was brilliant. It was like one thing for them to change the banners, but it's just like
literally
Team
absolutely
Green.
everything.
Yeah, Team Green is launching a massive marketing campaign for the impending upcoming popularity contest with his sister.
I have weed on every blade of grass.
That is the one. So Brandon, awesome, loved it.
I would just like to say I walk dogs for a living, so I do not wee on every blade of grass.
But there's a reason Emma's brain went there.
Yeah, that was so random.
Actually, it was really fitting. Oh yeah, definitely. He's like, except that bit. I don't want that bit. But all the rest of this is mine. So, it's you.
Well, I think we're going to have to discuss Aemond.
Yes, because the next scene that we see Aegon in is when he goes into the brothel. Well, actually, when he goes into the brothel, we're going to have to discuss the blowy. Because that happened. I believe all the dongs are fake these days, though. In those situations, there's a fake dong. Because otherwise it's porn. But, so that shocked me, definitely. I was not expecting that. But I have to say, it is good to see equal opportunities full nudity.
I would like to say I did not need to see that.
I did not need to see that either, but at the same time, in these kind of things, we see a lot of naked women, and it should be You know, like, I'm all for seeing the naked men, but I did not need to see a blowy. That's where I'm at with this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for that. Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, naked men, right? It's not for that reason. It's for so there's no double standard, you know, with all the naked women, that we see an equal amount of naked men. If there has to be naked people, it's a brothel after all. So, but did we really need to see a blowy?
No, well.
No, I don't think we did. So they're like, anyway, moving on.
Moving on. I think it was a hugely vulnerable scene.
Yes.
And we don't see Aemond being vulnerable. So it was quite good to see his character in that light, his kind of fetal position, and there's all the mockery and jibing. But I think the moment where he stands up completely naked and walks out, it's that he's doing a big fuck you to his vulnerability in front of them. I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm just going to stand up and keep walking. So now I'd like to talk about how fucking awesome the makeup department are with his creepy non-eye. Oh my God, it was so cool.
It is really, really, really cool.
The half light of the brothel and the makeup with the prosthetics of the eye socket. Oh, it was so cool.
It was very, very cool. I mean, we don't see him they don't have to do it all the time because he's got that eye patch.
Yeah.
So when the work that they've put into it when they do it is just...
It gave me Terminator vibes. You know, the naked man
definitely.
standing up and just walking out there, striding, shoulders strong, and the one eye thing. And it gave me total Terminator vibes.
Aemond gives me Terminator vibes in general. He's like... He has that same posture, I think, as the T2.
Yeah.
He really does.
He also had his coin moment at the Green Council.
It was weird because, like, Aemond was quite intimidating at that meeting.
Yeah.
Right? He barely said a word. And he's sitting, and his posture's very, very intimidating, and his stare. And, you know, the eyes going around the room, and he's flicking this coin in a menacing way as well. I mean, the coin obviously means something to him. It's the coin that he picked up from the blood and cheese assault.
Yeah.
That he found on the floor afterwards. And it's a symbol of the fact that they were coming for him.
Yeah.
So he's playing with this coin. He's been very, very intimidating. And then the tables have turned in this scene. And Aegon's a bit pissed, and he's just gone back to his old ways of bullying his little brother.
Yeah.
I think Aemond really held it well. I felt sorry for the lady, though. I can't remember her. Sylvie, yeah, I think that's her name. I felt really sorry for her in that moment, but I also understand why he played it that way.
Yeah. I think she did too.
She did. Yeah, I think she did. It's the king in the room. You just shut the fuck up if you're at her level.
And I think Aegon felt that as well.
Yeah. But you're right. It was a very, very intimate moment. They were naked, curled up nose to nose.
Yeah.
They were clearly having a moment of it. And it wasn't like the last time where it was him curled up in her lap, and it was a very she's stroking his hair, and it was very, very motherly.
It was a different vibe this time.
Completely different vibe. It was way more intimate.
Yeah.
Well, a different kind of intimate.
Yeah. It was a more grown-up intimate for him.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So I felt really sorry for him and her in that scene, to be honest with you. But...
Don't know if I can feel sorry for a Terminator.
I know. It's hard.
He's now Aemond the Terminator.
I know. He's hard to like, isn't he?
Yeah.
But I think I respect his character. If not like, I don't like him, but I think I respect him. I think he carries himself very well. He has rage, like his brother. He has mummy and daddy issues, like his brother. And yet he has a lid on it in a way that Aegon doesn't. So I think I may have a small tad of respect for that. Not sure why. Maybe it's just Ewan Mitchell playing him very well.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that's it. But
he's not as good as Creepy Clubfoot, though.
Oh, God. He's the best.
He really is.
Sometimes I really can't decide between him and Rhys Evans. but I think Laris wins out, like.
Oh, Laris is brilliant.
Definitely. Do you have any more notes on the Aemond situation?
I do not. We've seen very little of Aemond in this episode, but what we did see was played very well.
Yes, definitely. Is it me then?
Yes.
It is. Okay. I want to talk about the lovely scene at Driftmark Harbour with Rhaenys and Corlys.
Okay, cool.
Shall we hear the clip first?
Yes.
Let's do the clip first, then we'll have the chat.
I bade farewell to Rhaena before I returned.
I wish her well. I would fight 100 battles before I went into exile with none but prattling babes.
One of those babes is your heir.
Joffrey. A boy of 6 who knows nothing of the sea, and yet somehow...
It would displease neither Rhaenyra nor the gods. Rhaena were named heir to Driftmark.
Rhaena, Lord of the Tides. The girl knows nothing of ships, nor even of dragons.
There is Rhaena or there is Joffrey. Both soon to be far from the creak of ships and the ocean's roar.
Then we must hope to see our way forward in time.
And if there is no time, we are at war, Corlys. If something were to befall you,
then it is well that I am a good sailor.
Oh, there's a lot of tension in that conversation, but I feel like their love really shone through.
Yeah.
I love the way, like, you know, they're feeding each other and stuff. And it was cute. And just having a wee lunch break under the pier.
Whilst it's absolutely lashing it down.
Yes. I loved the making of this. It was so cool. So it's like they planned for this rainy scene and they're pumping water into the place. And then on the day of filming, it actually rains. So they've got all this extra water and they were absolutely drenched. But that set, that harbour set is phenomenal. Yeah, and that's really a real ship and it's so cool. Just loved the scene. It was just really cute little intimate moment with them. And of course we're discussing the succession of Driftmark again.
Yeah, I feel sorry for Rhaena.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I've forgotten that scene for a moment there. It hadn't jumped out of my notes at me yet. So yeah, I do really feel sorry for Rhaena.
She feels like she's been given. She feels like she's being sent away because she's useless, and actually, that's not the case.
I think by the end of it, she understood the importance of her mission.
She's absolutely important. If all goes badly, then she is the only thing that will carry everything on.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really important.
Go safely, sister. I will be safe enough. Far away from any danger with only babes to nurse me. You do a great service. And may yet find yourself glad to be out of harm's way. Do not coddle me, Bela. Grant me at least that dignity. I meant no insult. We each do what we can. And here, I think, is some consolation.
Tyraxes and Stormcloud are young and vulnerable. These eggs are even more fragile. But should all come to ruin here, you will bear our hope for the future.
Your Grace.
Yeah, I think she, like I said, I think she got it, the importance of her mission by the end. But she was doing the petty lip thing, and
she was. But I get it also.
Oh my God, it must be so awful to be in her position.
Yeah, the feeling of my mum's gone, my dad doesn't give a shit about me. I'm being sent off because I don't have a dragon. I've got to look after these little kids.
When your whole family's legacy is built on dragons and you're the only one that doesn't have one.
And also
that must sting.
The inconsiderate go to Pentos, to Prince Reggio. That's where her mum died. And there's no talking about that. There's no saying, how do you feel about that? I understand that might be difficult for you. It's just, that's it. That's what I told you to do. Go do it. This is the way it's happening.
Yeah. Actually, I saw a video earlier on today regarding that scene. There was a scene in the episode that Lena died of Daemon comforting his girls that got cut.
All right, okay.
I'm really sad about that. I would have liked to see that. It was a touch. I saw a tiny wee glimpse of it because it was just a picture, a still in a video, but of him hugging the girls and just, this really heartfelt scene between them got cut. I would have liked to have seen that. But it is what it is. We get what we get.
Yeah, I agree. That's sad.
And that's why we'll get the DVDs later and get the outtakes.
Yay!
Yay! So, Fab, is it you?
Might be. Okay, let's talk about Mysaria.
Yeah. Where is she in my notes? So I wrote, Mysaria wants a job and maybe a dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a fair sum up of this situation.
Definitely. But I'm liking this dynamic between her and Rhaenyra.
Yeah, she seems, I mean, she's not on the same scale as Rhaenys because we love Rhaenys. Mm-hmm. But she really sees people.
She does.
And she sees Rhaenyra.
When you come from the kind of background that she does, she's clearly been through some abuse in her life. And you do learn to read people very well in that situation. And yes, she sees Rhaenyra for exactly who she is and who she could be and who she is not. And
how she will benefit the small folk, most importantly.
Absolutely. So yeah, I thought I loved the way she was eyeing up that dragon. I was like, does Mysaria see herself there? She's very interested in them anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's looking to be a dragon rider. I know that is not the case in the books. So
she got very close to Cyrax, season 1.
Yeah, she did, very close. But she's certainly interested, intrigued by the dragons. And I like her reread on Sea Smoke. Maybe he's lonely.
Yeah.
That was cool. Very insightful, even with dragons.
Absolutely. And I like that she is now being helpful to Rhaenyra.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole, you must know about what Alicent's movements are. Come on, give me some info. Help me out here, girl.
Yeah.
And she's a bit like, I get into trouble when I help you fuckers.
Oh, what was the line? It was like, do you wish to kill her? She's like, no, I just wish to talk to her. It would be easier to kill her.
Yeah.
Love that. So true. Do you have any other notes or thoughts?
No, she didn't have a massive part to play in this episode. But the small part that she did have was important enough to mention.
Yes, definitely. So it's my turn. I would like to talk about the Black Council.
Oh, cheeky buggers.
They certainly are. It was very, very tense. So let's play the clip.
Still no sightings. No men, no horses, no ships, no dragons.
Good. Then we must seize the hour and act before our enemy does. They have penetrated our castle walls, and now the Riverlands are aflame after the Battle of the Burning Mill. How fares Prince Daemon with our army?
There has been no word from Prince Daemon, Your Grace.
Then we must press what advantage we do have.
And what is that?
Dragons. Send them all out. Start turning green strongholds to our cause. And burn those who resist.
No. If dragons begin fighting dragons, we invite our own destruction. Fear of it is in itself a weapon. The Greens will make the same calculation.
The value of a sword is not within its scabbard.
We will secure victory with armies, not with dragons alone. The Greens understand that. The Vale and the North will send men. We must give Daemon time.
Your Grace, you have witnessed firsthand just how vulnerable you are. Prince Daemon is abroad, and Aegon's factions are enraged at the death of his son. You have never been so exposed.
Perhaps it is time for you to think about secreting yourself somewhere safe, while we remain here as a source of distraction.
That's absolute cheek.
For the enemy.
Oh, totally.
He proposed to conduct the war in my absence.
It would merely be a precaution.
It would be treason.
Correct.
Definitely. Oh, they are cheeky.
You are fortunate you took it no further.
Well done.
This council would do well to remember that their queen wears the crown of my grandsire, Jaehaerys the Conciliator. A prudent ruler, the wisest of Targaryen kings whose reign outlasted every other. Even Aegon the Conqueror's.
Clap, clap, clap.
Yep.
Well said, ladies, as usual. Classy lady.
They're ridiculous old men, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. And that Alfred Broom guy, I want to punch him so hard.
I think Rhaenys did as well.
Oh, definitely. He's such a dick.
I love that she word punches them.
She really does.
Yeah.
She's so clever. But yeah, so...
Rhaenyra also.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
that would be treason.
Yeah. She's just... You're lucky you did not act on it. But they are, like... They're so dismissive of her. They see it as a figurehead. They don't see it as an actual ruler. And every single one of them's like... I find myself wondering why they're even backing her, right? Because it's for all the wrong reasons. They don't respect her.
No.
They see it as a figurehead. They just want her out the way so they can rule in her stead, I suppose.
Yeah.
They see her as malleable, and she's not.
No.
She is truly the blood of the dragon. So yeah, that scene was worth noting. They're really pushing her to attack. And meanwhile, I think this is when Rhaenys' words from earlier start going through her head about Alicent. And
yeah, at this point, there's still, in Rhaenyra's mind, there's still a hope to stop all-out war.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think that's what it is. She goes back to her room, and I'm not sure if the toy that she picked up was one of the little kids, or if it was something of Luke's or something that she was putting away in a memento box. Yeah. And that's when she's found the scroll from Alicent and decided to give it a read. I didn't get to see much of it. The word mother jumped out at me.
Sad tidying those toys away.
I know.
She's lost a son, she's lost a daughter, she's had to send her little ones away.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah, it's the family that she had is slowly getting smaller. She doesn't know where things stand with her and Daemon either. They left it so badly.
Yeah, everything's all displaced.
Do you have any other notes on this?
I do not.
I also do not. I think that
the only other thing I've got is Gawain Hightower.
Oh, yes. So we talked about the branding, but we didn't actually talk about the army.
Yeah.
and that part. So Cole had said the Riverlands are key and they all get ready to march off. And then we meet this Gawain Hightower dude. What do you think of him?
Oh, he comes across as a bit of a fop, doesn't he?
A bit of a what?
A fop.
I don't know this word. Define.
Really? Fop, it's like a dandy.
Oh, yes, absolutely. A bit of an elitist snob, if you ask me. That was a bit condescending, the way he was talking to the Hand.
Yes, but because he's not come from a family of notoriety.
No.
He's just
a Dornishman.
Rude.
Son of a steward. You've risen high, and how come you're in my daddy's seat?
He is, however, really sweet with his sister, which is really nice. And the weird sort of Cole and Alicent moment also, which I'll just put in here.
Oh, with the favour.
Oh,
yeah.
Bulk.
Oh, yeah, it was a bit, it was a bit cheesy, wasn't it?
It was. We didn't need that. We could have cut that scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, genuinely, I'd see no point in that scene. I don't care about their shitty little relationship.
No. So, yeah, but it was a bit cheesy. And I don't want it to be a romance between them. I just want it to be Alicent having some pleasure.
Yeah.
You know, just maybe letting loose a little and living a little in her widow days.
She's earned that.
She has. Do you have any other notes on the little scene between them?
No. Back to Gawain Hightower.
Back to Gawain then. Yeah, I mean, there's that initial scene we look at. When's the next time we see him? Is this when he's heading off to the tavern?
Yeah, he's diddling along with his men, isn't he?
No, yes, there's a tavern just down the road.
Cole's like, we're exposed.
Like what are you doing?
What's going on? Oh,
I actually really liked Cole in this scene. He had the moral high ground, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he was just like, oh my God, I'm surrounded by idiots. And it just shows you, like, while Cole is so out of his depth when it comes to the politics and that sort of stuff, but when he's out in the battlefield, he knows what he's doing.
Yes, he's a very experienced battle tactician, isn't he?
Yeah. Definitely experienced soldier at all levels.
Yeah.
And there's a reason they have rules. And there's a reason the army stays where the general says the army is to stay. And there's a reason you follow orders. And Gawain's just so spoiled. Yeah. I really liked Cole in that scene. And of course we will talk about the middle of this scene later in the dragon section, but you know, when the chase has died down, Gawain knows he fucked up.
Yeah,
he really does. But actually, I clipped this because I just thought it was so funny.
A good showing, Sir Kristen. I mean, you're dead.
They know we're abroad, they'll be hunting. And we must move under the trees and by cover of dark starting tonight. And no fucking inns.
And no fucking ends. That's fantastic.
Brilliant. Oh, it was so good. Like I say, really loved Cole in this scene. He was funny. He was right. Even for once, he was the smartest man in the room.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in his element now.
Definitely. Do we have any more on Gawain or Cole for that matter?
Yeah, I don't think we do.
Do we have anything else except Harrenhal?
I don't think so.
Oh my God, we're on at Harrenhal.
That's exciting.
Oh, this was just amazing.
It was.
This set is phenomenal. Like, in the behind the scenes. And they're talking about getting lost on it. It's so big. And it's so creepy and eerie. And I think they've done a fantastic job. I mean, Harrenhal was great in Game of Thrones, but we mostly saw it during the day.
Yeah.
They've really gone out their way to make it a scary, spooky place.
It's wet, it's stormy, it's very cool.
Honestly, Daemon's walking through the hallways and I half expected him to bump into Sam and Dean with an EMF reader.
Yeah.
Supernatural moment. But yeah, it was so creepy. It was like a proper horror, like it felt like an old horror movie, you know, and you know, round any corner someone's going to jump out at you. Instead, you get this one guard that's like, halt! Daemon's like, boof. That was so funny.
Oh my God. Over-exaggerated response.
Definitely. Like that's going to stop him. Can you imagine though, like, because he was quite a wee guy compared to Daemon. Daemon in this really imposing Targaryen armor. And he's like, halt!
That must have been the first word that came to his mind. Other than shit! Help!
Oh,
that's
dear.
what he meant to shout.
He was unconscious a second later, so there was no second thought. Oh, brilliant. But the scene is just amazing. The roots growing through the castle.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And they're so big and there's so much of it. And I'm like, surely that can't be the roots from the Godswood outside. Because the Godswood's quite far from the castle.
The castle is absolutely enormous.
Yeah, the grounds are massive. But so in a scale of, you know, from where Daemon was walking to where the Godswood is, those roots are like crazy. They're not doing that in any other castles in Winterfell. You know, like for example, or in Storm's End or any of these other castles that have a Godswood. That's not happening there. It's only here at Harrenhal. And the only thing I can think of comes back to the legends of when Harren cut down the grove of werewood trees in order to build Harrenhal. And I can't help but think, like, when you cut down trees, you don't destroy that root system, do you?
It doesn't seem so with Harrenhal.
No, it seems like the werewoods are trying to claim back the land.
Yeah.
It's so creepy and cool, and it's just so lore heavy. The bats. If any of you want to know the significance of the bats, look at House Lofton from somewhere in the 200s, 200 and something AC. The bats are definitely associated with Harrenhal in later times. But let's talk about the times leading up to where we are. What do we know about Harrenhal? What we know about Harrenhal is it was built by Harren the Black, and it's and many atrocities happened in the building of Harrenhal. Slaves, the word slave is not used, but that is what Harren did. Harren rounded up the people that he was supposed to be ruling and made them work in practically slave camps in order to build this prize, this status symbol, this cock extension.
With his 5 phallic symbols.
Yes, exactly. So in A Clash of Kings, Arya Stark says that the old Nan told her that Harren mixed blood into the mortar. And in A Storm of Swords, Jaime Lannister, as he approaches the castle, sees those 5 fingers, describes them as grasping up towards the sky. Those 5 towers, grasping up towards the sky like fingers.
Yep. Yeah, I can see that.
I
do know about Aegon the Conqueror.
Which part?
the part where he went on Balerion way high above the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
Almost burst into Someone Over the Rainbow there. Wrong genre.
Yeah.
So then he comes back down and hails fire on Harrenhal.
Well, I have a theory
This
on
is the
this.
day that, like, Harren has moved in.
No, the day that Harren moved in was the day that Aegon landed.
Right, okay.
At King's Landing. This is the Harren's moving in day. This place that has taken him decades to build.
But it was his moving in day that he first got firebombed.
No, that was... It took time. It took a couple of months.
Right,
it took,
okay.
The whole of the conquest actually took like 2 years. From Aegon being... From when they landed to when Aegon was crowned. It took about 2 years. So when we talk about AC, it talks about... We talk about AC from the coronation. So this was 2 BC, technically.
Right, okay.
2 BC, when Aegon landed, it was Harren's moving in day. And then a few castles and conquests later, few fights, few dragons sent out on recruiting missions, let's say. And here we have Aegon attacking Harrenhal. And he gave Harren the chance to bend the knee. And Harren was just so cocky. I was like, I've built in stone. Stone doesn't burn. He thought he was untouchable.
He didn't just build it in stone, though, did he?
And Aegon said, tomorrow your line shall end. And away he walked. And like you say, he flew up and up. And I have this theory about this. So the Godswoods in the old times, in the times of the First Men and everything, they were supposed to create a magical barrier.
Mm-hmm.
We know for sure that there's magical barriers built into the walls at like Storm's End. And yeah, these Godswoods are supposed to be some sort of magical protection. And I wonder if Aegon flying up and up and up and up and up was to go over the barrier. But down he came, and we know he melted those towers. He melted everything that could burn did burn, including the stone that Harren claimed to be untouchable. Clearly never come across dragonfire before. And I heard a thing that I do believe that dragonfire gets hotter with age as well.
It does.
Yeah. I know you've done a lot of research recently into dragon anatomy and things like that. So yeah. Balerion was probably around 120 years old now. We know that because we can now date Balerion to being a young dragon at the time Daenerys had her dream. So no bigger than a horse, it was stated. So therefore, Balerion would have maybe been about 3 years old, because when Drogon was described as being about the size of a horse, he was about 3. And so there we can discern that at the time of the conquest, Balerion would be around 117 years old.
Okay, cool. So he's at Scotch bonnet fire stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Enough to melt stone.
Yeah. Have you ever eaten Scotch bonnet sauce? That's enough to melt stone.
Definitely. So many atrocities were committed in the building of Harrenhal, and then this thing that happens with Aegon, and we talked earlier about about the Arya saying that he mixed blood into the mortar. And I don't know about you, but something about blood plus dragonfire equals magic to me. You know, they seem like two components of a spell. And I don't know for sure, but I have this theory that this might be part of what makes everything so spooky.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something to do with the curse. I mean, maybe it was cursed before, because, I mean, Aegon landing the day he moved in, that sounds like a curse to me. And I also mentioned earlier that Lady Blackwood did curse the whore line. So
Yep, there's also the chopped down werewoods and their network of communication. So you have the Children of the Forest.
Yeah,
and that whole under the ground.
And these trees are supposed to contain spirits,
stuff.
And these spirits have been disturbed.
So, I mean, they can send messages everywhere. Yeah. Can they send messages to the dragons?
Maybe they could.
Did they send Balerion a message to say, you need to go up and over that, do you think?
Maybe. Yeah, because was Aegon in control in that moment, or was that all on Balerion?
Yeah.
Who knows? But what we do know is that the place has clearly got some sort of creepy curse going on. And we made a little bit of a joke about it last year in the last season when they were talking about the Strongs when they were murdered in that fire and that the curse was the number one suspect. We laughed at that. We kind of scoffed that as ridiculous. But the more I look into Harrenhal and the more I remember from when it's been a long time since I read A Song of Ice and Fire, the more I remember, the more I start to realise, no, I think the stories about Harrenhal are true, and I think the curse is real, or the curse could at least be real, or maybe it's all Alice Rivers.
There's definitely something in the curse. However, I do really like the storyline of Creepy Clubfoot being the one that's orchestrated the fire.
Oh no, that was definitely him. We know that in the show. That is for sure.
Yeah,
the decisive. It was Laris. Laris did that, but the curse itself. I mean, it must have been a pretty good arsonist, to get a fire to light in Harrenhal. Yeah, and for it to be powerful enough to spread.
Yeah.
With that intensity. But at the end of the day, in all the last time there was a fire there was when Aegon attacked. So the fact is in 130 years, there's never been a random fire. The curse has taken owners of Harrenhal out in many, many ways, but there's never by fire. So I'm putting that 1,000% on Laris. But I still think there's something definitely creepy going on there. But I could do an entire episode on Harrenhal, and we just don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is, because I believe, there's a lot more Harrenhal to come, is I'm going to have a little bit more about what happened next in between the conquest and the dance that makes Harrenhal so compelling and creepy and cool. And I feel like this is, George is not really a horror writer, but he dabbles, and he's done some of his best horror writing right here at Harrenhal, if you ask me. So cool. So cool. Do you have any other notes on Harrenhal in general, before we get into the scenes?
No, I'm quite happy to move to the scenes because Simon Strong stole the show on this episode. God. He was hilarious.
He was absolutely brilliant. He was my favourite by far. Loved him. Thought he was so cool. He was so funny. I actually took a couple of clips for this scene because I thought it was brilliant.
That venison is well aged. Shame to let it waste.
I've survived many a battle. I do not mean to be felled by poison peas.
I'll admit that my cook's peas aren't exactly the stuff of legend, but poison?
Right, it's an easy way to kill a dragon rider.
If you've not yet surmised, you are welcome here.
And what of your lord, Laris Strong? He who sits at the false court of Aegon.
Laris Clubfoot is no lord of mine. He's a scourge upon this castle and this family. Do you not think it strange that his father, my nephew, Lord Lionel, perished by fire, and his son too, here in this damp place? It was the first fire here since Balerion ended the line of Harren the Black. Even in summer we struggle to light the hearths. So no, you will find no loyalty to Laris Strong here, my prince.
Your grace.
He's very passionate about it as well, isn't he?
forgive me. I'd only assumed that as consort.
And we are reminded of the perilousness of assumption.
Indeed. Your Grace.
I do love that bit.
Love it. Absolutely.
There's two bits in this clip for me that stand out, and it's Simon Strong really was very fatherly to Lionel Strong, and you can hear the not grief in his voice, but he's very angry.
Oh, definitely. He's
Yeah.
known Laris his whole life, so he probably knows how devious he is. He seems like a clever man. So,
and then there's also the that hilarious oh, Daemon, no, you are not, Your Grace, you silly twat.
No, but there's no precedent. He's trying to set a new precedent here. There's no precedent for what do you call the husband of the queen, because they've only ever had the king. And it should be king consort, but he's like,
absolutely. Well, he should be called prince when he's addressed, because if he was to be called king, that would suggest that he is of the same standing as the queen, and he's not. She's the regent in charge, so he has to be prince. But by saying Your Grace, that's him saying, no, I'm the same as Rhaenyra. No, you're not. No, you're not, love.
Yeah, I know. I get where you're coming from, but I think it's the term Your Grace. While he is not the king, he is still above in station than he was when he was just the prince, who was the brother of a dead king.
He would be Your Highness. He wouldn't be Your Grace. Prince
I don't think that's a term. I think that's a term that was actually kind of coined by the British royal family. Highness.
So what would he be then?
Oh no, wait, now I want. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure which century, but I think Highness was a Henry VIII thing. I may have to look into that. Don't quote me. But yeah,
it certainly wouldn't be Your Grace, because that would suggest that he is on the same level as Rhaenyra, and he's not.
But they still call Alicent Your Grace. You're right. He is wrong, and he is pushing his luck. But I can also almost see why, because there is no precedent. So he's trying to set a precedent. And also he's found a bunch of people that he can bully.
I don't think he cares who he bullies at this point, does he?
No, he does not. I have a little bit more of this scene. Shall we play it?
Great.
Summon your Lord Paramount so that I may treat with him myself and turn them to our cause.
That would be Lord Grover Tully, but he grows frail. It's said that he can no longer speak, nor seal his bowels. Begging a pardon impression. His grip on his bannerman is weak. They feel they can do as they please.
I will speak with him nonetheless. People should obey their liege lord, whatever his condition. Perhaps the presence of the crown and a dragon will sharpen minds round these parts.
Might I ask, Your Grace, if you are successful, well, when you are successful, what then?
We march on King's Landing and take the throne.
The throne?
It's a big chair made of swords.
Oh, such a good scene.
It's such a good scene.
I want to give a shout out to Sir Simon Russell Beale, who plays Sir Simon. That's so cool.
That is really cool.
Because Sir Simon, who plays Sir Simon. I love it. So I must actually look into why he was knighted, what he was knighted for. No time like the present. So he was knighted in 2019 by the Queen for services to drama.
Oh, okay, that's really nice.
As part of her birthday honours.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, probably one of the last few people to be knighted by Queen Elizabeth. Awesome. Anyway, stand-up guy. Loved him in this scene. It was absolutely brilliant. His face. He's another one with the face acting.
Yeah.
Oh, the throne.
It's a big chair made of swords. Absolutely love that.
Brilliant scene. Daemon was great in it as well, actually. He was really cool.
It was a brilliant scene.
He definitely pushing his luck, though.
You're right, it is the face acting.
Yeah.
That's so hilarious.
Can't wait to see more of him. I feel like every time, well, not every episode, but, you know, I'm like, oh, there's my favourite character. No, you're now my favourite character. Yeah. No, you're now my favourite character. My current favourite character is Sir Simon. Definitely. We'll see if it's still the same next week. So that brings us to the last thing on the agenda, which would be Daemon's dream.
Oh, that was all kinds of messed up, wasn't it?
It really was. I mean, first of all, loving that he's like totally barricaded himself in the room. True form, ever paranoid Daemon.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was creepy with the door rattling. What do you think? Someone on the other side, or is it ghosts?
No, I think it's just a very lucid dream.
Yeah, probably.
And like you say, it's his paranoia playing out in his mind.
Manifesting.
Yeah.
So, like you say, lucid dream, but by the fact that he ends up at the Heart Tree, I'm choosing to assume that he sleepwalked.
Yeah.
From his chambers to the Godswood, but in his head, he was walking through the castle and he enters this room to find Millie Alcock. Yay! So pleased to see her.
She's his version of Rhaenyra that she's the only person he really opened up to.
Yes.
Adult Rhaenyra he's had his troubles with, but that Rhaenyra seems to be the only person in the world that he's ever been really honest with.
Yeah.
So it's so weird that it's her.
It's the version of her that he is the most connected to.
Yeah.
Because it's the version of her that idolised him. And the other Rhaenyra is seeing through the rose-coloured glasses that she had as a child now. And he's maybe, wishing that he could go back to that Rhaenyra who just hung on his every word.
Yeah. No, there's no way back, love.
No, not there. So there's, I found it interesting, the dialogue used here, which was always coming and going, aren't you? And I have to clean up your messes. And
That's not something little Rhaenyra would ever have said to him.
No, it isn't. And I'm trying to think what messes has Rhaenyra cleaned up for him. And the biggest one I can think of is when he took her to the brothel and everything and pretty much almost ruined her name.
Yeah.
That he then buggered off. He was sent away, to be fair. He was exiled from court. But she was the one left to kind of pick up the pieces of that in respect of fixing things, marrying the Laenor Velaryon and, in order to maintain her reputation. And also with the heartache that left Viserys.
Yeah.
And she was the one that was around and had to pick up those pieces. And then he was back again for the wedding, and then he was gone again for many years away off with Laena. And then, he's, and yeah, she's been the constant that's there, but he's always flitted in and out of her life.
Yeah, that's very true. He's, I think it's his guilt manifesting.
Oh, big time. That is the best words to describe it. His guilt
over little Jaehaerys as well, because he didn't intend that, although it played out that way.
Yes, that is not what he intended. There are moments where you can see the guilt of that, mainly in his conversation with Rhaenyra last week's episode, but also there's a contradiction because in the previous scene, when he's sitting at the table and they're all discussing who the possible murderer of Jaehaerys was, and Daemon's sitting with that smile on his face, which is what told Rhaenyra that it was him. he didn't look sorry in that moment.
No, this is the first time we see him having guilt in this dream when it's little Rhaenyra that's sitting sewing the head back on.
Because it's always a performance with Daemon.
Yeah.
What we see on the outside is, you know, that what he projects, what he wants people to think, what he wants people to see. But this was a glimpse into his subconscious.
Yeah.
So I thought it was fantastic. Really great to see Millie again. And of course, him ending up by the heart tree to where he opens his eyes to see Alice Rivers standing there saying, "You will die in this place." That's rather ominous. So
he takes it very well, though. Fairness, if you woke up out there and some creepy lady said that, you'd be like, "Oh, whoa, how'd I get here?"
Yeah.
He's just like, huh.
He's just a bit like, what's going on? And then he's a bit taken aback by what she said. And does she not just walk off before he has much chance to respond? She's already on her way back into the castle.
It's a good representation of how lucid his dream is. He's not quite sure what's real, what's dream and what's reality.
Yeah.
So is she another part of his dream? Has he woken up?
Yeah.
What's going on?
That's so cool. And I love the imagery, though. In that courtyard, the dilapidated courtyard with this heart tree, which is practically in the water. There's just a wall divide. You're right on the banks of the lake there, right next to it, and you can see the God's Eye, the lake, and it's just like, this is how close Harrenhal really is.
So the curse is it the trees? Are the trees calling him outside?
Well, this is the thing. It's
or is it Alice?
I don't think it's Alice. I think that Alice is connected to the werewood, the old gods, the green seers, possibly. And she's like a living manifestation of what the direction that the old gods are maybe trying to point Daemon in.
Maybe.
But why would the old gods be talking to Daemon? Because he's the blood of old Valyria. So there's a theory out there that Daemon could possibly be a green seer. I didn't look into it too much because I don't want to completely spoil myself.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I could gather and what I'm seeing in this episode, I'm starting to think that the theory might have weight.
Maybe. I think that's a good place to say we're going to do some research on that.
Definitely. That's where I was going with that. Yeah. So going to dig into that, have a wee look. We will, next week we will have more on Alice and Harrenhal.
Absolutely. If anyone else has any views, opinions, or has done research, we would love to hear about it.
Yes. No spoilers, please, though. No book spoilers, but theories. I'm all about theories. I want to hear them.
Yes,
so, moving on. That pretty much wraps up all the plot lines. I think we've done everything but dragons.
Yep.
We touched on dragons a little, actually, but let's get right into it. So, dragon section. So, what would you like to talk about first?
So, in my notes, we've already said about Mysaria and Sea Smoke.
Yes, we talk more about Mysaria there, though, and less about Sea Smoke. Sea Smoke is really restless.
Yeah. I mean, we're just seeing a sea smoke in the sky, having a whinge. Yeah.
And, like Mysaria says, perhaps he's lonely. I don't know. Maybe Laenor has died.
Seems like it. Seems like... But I mean, I've no idea what a grieving dragon would look like or sound like, but possibly that could be an indication.
Vhagar was kind of acting similarly after Laena died.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. I would fill a plot hole. That would be great.
No, to fill a plot hole would be to tell us what happened to Laenor.
I'm good with the power of suggestion.
I'm okay with that too. I have a great enough imagination that I can, I can surmise from what's presented in front of me.
Yeah.
Saw a really good T-shirt once. Okay. It says there are 2 types of people in this world. Those that can, number 1 is those that can extrapolate information from incomplete data. And number 2, there's no answer. There's nothing. Number 2 is blank.
Okay.
As in, well, there you go. I'm not going to explain it. So yeah, I find that T-shirt quite hilarious. And it's one of those situations here with Seasmoke is they don't have to give us everything laid out on a plate for us. We can use our brains.
Yeah.
I'm choosing to see it that way. I'm sure there are plenty other fans out there that are like, I want answers. And that's okay too.
Yep.
But I'm choosing to accept what I see in front of me at face value and suspend disbelief.
Yeah.
So, what else was going on in the dragon section?
I love the eggs.
Oh yeah, and what do I want to call them? Broiler thing. These urns. Oh, amazing!
It's the egg cozies.
The egg cozies.
I'm calling them the egg cozies.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. Let's go with egg cozies.
I love the scales on them. I love the colours. It was all very cool. It was really cool. And I love the eggs in Game of Thrones also. So it was really cool to see the eggs a bit sort of up close and yeah.
Yeah, they're so much prettier in House of the Dragon though, because those eggs in Game of Thrones were petrified and worn with many years.
But they were cool back then.
They were.
So
they were very
now
cool.
Is like, they're so pretty and shiny.
Yeah, I love it. It's so good. And we also kind of like, I couldn't really see them, but there was a couple of baby dragons there too.
Yeah, Tyraxis and
Stormcloud.
Yes.
Very little dragons, but we didn't really see them. We heard them screeching in the cages, shaking about, and maybe a wee glimpse of there being something in that cage, but nothing that I could make out.
Would have been nice to see them. Maybe we'll see them when they're bigger. Who knows?
Well, we know that Rhaena is taking Joffrey to the Vale, and I would assume that Tyraxis would be staying with him at the Vale.
I think Tyraxis and Stormcloud are staying because Jane Arryn wants the dragons in payment for looking after Joffrey, basically.
Yeah, but I think
because she wants dragons.
She did say dragons,
but because she wants a dragon, Rhaenyra is giving her 2 teeny dragons.
Yeah, but it's still Aegon's dragon. I think there's an understanding there that it's still Aegon's dragon. Like, there has to be, surely, because it's Aegon's dragon. And if they're going to she's going to Pentos with the little ones. I had assumed that Stormcloud was going on to Pentos with Rhaena and the little kids, and that Joffrey and Tyraxis were staying there. But I swear, now that I think about it, I think when talking about Lady Jane, she said dragons. So I might have to go back and watch that scene and double check. But almost a baby dragon. I want to see one. Because we've not seen one since season 2 of Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah, when they were little tiddlers.
Yeah. And they were
and
just
Dany was telling them off.
Yeah, and she was like chucking them little bits of meat and they were toasting it and we all thought it was so cute. But really cool. And of course, so that brings us to the piece de resistance of the dragon section.
There's one wee bit before.
What did I miss?
It was Caraxes at Harrenhal.
Oh, absolutely. I've wrote it there and I was almost going to say it a minute ago and then I've just forgot. Wow. That was so cool.
I really quite love this dragon because it's so weird.
Yes, definitely. Weird. You did some reading on Caraxes, didn't you?
I did a bit of reading on dragons and Caraxes, the bloodworm, is actually a mutant type of dragon. So there's 3 breeds of dragon that have been developed, shall we say, by Ryan Condal.
Bred.
And, well, this is what they've come up with for House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
And it's Miguel Sapochnik, and I think Ryan Condal did have a lot to do with it as well. But anyway, there's 3 breeds of dragon, and you can differentiate them by the shape of their skulls. So they're based on 3 types of animal. You've got a T-Rex breed, which is your like Vermithor and Balerion sort of thing. They're bred for war.
Oh yeah.
And they're really large. You've got horse skull ones like Cyrax. So they're bred for speed.
Yeah.
Then you've got wolf skull ones like Arax and Vermax, and they're bred for tracking and hunting, and they're sort of middle-sized. All the dragons,
like scouting dragons, like kind of,
yeah, look much like wolves. So they've all got black bones due to the high carbon content in their bodies.
Oh, did not know that.
And their scales thicken with age, and their fire heats with age. So if you want to check out more of this stuff, it's in a book called Making of the House of the Dragon, and this will tell you all about the skull shapes. And
why don't I have this book? I need this book.
She will have this book, guys, absolutely.
I'll have it for next week, probably.
She will. This is a fact. So, Caraxes, the bloodworm, is a mutant and doesn't fit into one of these categories. So it's got a serpent body, it has an extra hot flame, but it has a wolf type head. So they're thinking it's been a hybrid between a fireworm and a wyvern.
Yeah.
Caraxes also has leg wings.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah.
I didn't. It was like a fleeting moment and then completely forgot all about it and never thought about it again until you've just said it.
Due to the shape of the body, if Caraxes didn't have these leg wings, flight really wouldn't be possible because it's needed.
Yeah, to support that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
And I don't know if anyone else has noticed. Have you noticed that Caraxes, it doesn't roar?
Yes.
It shrieks.
Yes.
And it's because it has a deviated septum.
That is so cool. Well, not for Caraxes, but it's so cool that there's an explanation for that. Yet they can't give us an explanation for Laenor.
Yeah. But we know that Caraxes has a deviated septum and can't roar.
Details.
All the details. Do love the dragon details, though.
Definitely.
So,
that's really cool. I have to get that book.
You do?
Right. We will have a wee scout it for that. I'm searching for it now. Not going to lie, guys. No, we're not. Did you have anything else on Caraxes?
I did not. I'm going to let you move on to the main event of the dragon section.
Oh my God, this scene was amazing. So the brief that the designer was given for Moondancer was David Bowie.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's so cool. This dragon has a mohawk. What shape skull is Moondancer?
I think Moondancer is the horse skull.
I would go with that. I think so. It felt similar to Cyrax now that I think about it. Yeah. Yeah, cool dragon though.
Those webby wings.
Yeah.
Love them.
And the colour. And yeah, just that mohawk. I mean, the dragon with a mohawk. I mean, it doesn't get any cooler than that. And we have some pretty cool dragons on this show, but mohawks, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So yeah, this wee chase was absolutely outstanding. I love that, Kristen Cole and that are already running before Bella even sees them. She's like, oh, hi, what's that doing there? Going in for a closer look. I love her wee moment with Rhaenyra later. And she's like, well, I didn't engage exactly.
Didn't break the rules, bent them.
Just bent them a little. But I like that. I like that in Bella. She's got a bit of spark, a bit of spunk, a bit of fire.
Bit of fire.
Definitely. Love it. The dragon was fast. Very, very fast dragon. I don't know. I mean, she was a good girl. She backed off. I might have like burnt a little circle around them in the forest. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might set a few trees on fire.
A little.
Just a bit, yeah. But, you know, she's been a good girl, and it was more important to get the information back.
Absolutely.
Than having her little glory moment, which she totally could have had. She would have only got 3 of them, but God, the Queen's brother and her lover, and who's also Hand of the King and Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, that would have been a good, you know, report to take back, that they were all gone. But then she probably would have got in trouble for engaging.
I think I would have roasted them, to be honest. But hey-ho, here we are.
I would have tried. Good girl, Bela, though, and fantastic scene from Moondancer. Do you have any other notes on this?
Nope, my main notes were the webby wings. The webby wings did it all for me.
Well, that will be the dragon section then. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about, actually, regarding dragons. It was just some random information that I found that I was just beyond fascinating. Let me find it. So, when Balerion came to Dragonstone, there was 4 other dragons. He was one of 5.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knows anything about these other dragons. We're assuming that, you know, a lot of people assume that, for example, Visenya was the first to ride Vhagar. But Vhagar was 50, 60 years old at the time of the conquest.
Mm-hmm.
So generations before probably flew Vhagar, possibly, probably, who knows.
Yeah.
But we don't know a lot about these other 4 dragons. And I found on Reddit, of all places, it was just in a chat thread, it was a reference to Game of Thrones. And it says that in the show Viserys, Dany's brother mentions the names of large dragons who are not canon to the books. Those might be the names of the pre-conquest dragons, the guy says. It says they got bigger and bigger and bigger. There was Giscar and Valrion, Vermithrax, Esuvius, Arcanai, Meraxes, Vhagar, and Balerion the Dread, whose fire forged the 7 kingdoms into one. Now, there's an extra dragon here. That was 5 dragons plus Meraxes, Vhagar, and Balerion.
Are they named after Valyrian gods?
Yes. Vhagar certainly is. I know that Vhagar is definitely named after a Valyrian god. I couldn't tell you for sure on the rest of them, but they sound like godlike names, don't they? So there is one extra dragon here, but in the first book, and this is very cool, Tyrion mentions that there is a 3,000-year-old dragon skull in the cellar with the others. So maybe that's the other dragon that's there. And that is awesome.
That is awesome.
I missed that, went right over my head. Or it was just 14, 15 years ago when I read it and I forgot. Not sure, but if I've just missed it or forgotten it, but that was so cool. I was like, oh my God, I've got some names for these dragons. I would love to know a little bit more about that 100 years between the Doom and the Conquest.
Yeah.
And what went on Dragonstone in that time. That's another spin-off.
Yeah.
Oh God. I also read a video or something regarding 12 potential spin-offs. Oh, Jesus, that dog wants in. But 12 potential spin-offs, and I'm like, I can think of 4 off the top of my head that are pretty much confirmed or in production. Mm-hmm. And I could think of another 2 or 3 that I would like to see that would be good. And I know a lot of people would like to see, Blackfire Rebellion stuff.
But then that's only half of the number.
Yeah.
What else could they do?
What else could they be doing? Maybe there is that pre-conquest Targaryen stuff. Do you know what? If I like prequels, I love the idea of all these prequels because there's so much rich history there to explore. But if they were to do a sequel, I want What's West of Westeros. with Arya.
Yeah.
That would be the sequel that I would be wanting. I wanted to know. I want Arya to go to a shy and all these, but but that's the thing. When the map stops, the land just kind of goes off the edge of the map. There's still stuff there that's not on the maps of the known world. And if the Earth is round, and let's assume it is.
Bloody hope so.
Well, I mean, our Earth is round, but we're going to assume that theirs is as well. Comets falling from the sky and all that. I would say that indicates that there's space out there.
Yep.
And it's a round planet. Not a disc world.
Nope, they're not on top of a giant turtle.
Not a flat Earth. No conspiracy theorists in Westeros. But anyway.
Maybe Laris.
Maybe. I could totally see him.
Yeah.
Let me
Laris
tell you.
is a flat earther.
Oh, definitely. Where was I? I've completely lost my chain of thought now. Yeah, what's west of Westeros? That was it. That would be my...
That would be cool.
That would be very cool for a sequel. Right. So that brings us to R.I.P. And it's not very big.
This week we've said goodbye to Emma's sanity because Ghost keeps running up and down the fucking stairs.
Yes, this week we have.
Because he's a cunt. A big hairy one. We can start the RIP section again. You can cut that, that's fine. I just had to get that off my fucking chest.
No bother. Good for you. Sometimes you just gotta.
Yep.
Okay. So in this episode, we said goodbye to the Brackens and the Blackwoods. Not all of them.
Just a lot of them.
A lot of them. I'm more concerned for their bannermen who fought alongside them.
Yeah.
The poor sods that got dragged into their feud. Because they couldn't have all been Brackens and Blackwoods.
No.
So many, many men died needlessly over some boundary stones.
Awful.
And the first battle of the war has begun. So I'm sure we'll see a lot more Bracken and Blackwoods throughout the rest of the story. But for now, a huge chunk of them have met their end. So goodbye to them.
Goodbye.
And their bannermen. Goodbye. And that brings us to fun facts. Do you have any other fun facts other than the ones you've already given us, which were awesome?
No, I think I have used up all of my fun facts for this episode.
Oh, I just thought of another that isn't even on my list here, was the water at Harrenhal, where they kept putting Daemon under the shower.
Yeah.
It was the water leaking in from the roof. And they kept, to keep Daemon looking like he was dripping wet, like, just go and stand under the water again.
And I love that Matt Smith said, I really enjoyed being absolutely soaking wet.
Yeah, he really had fun with it.
He did.
And he said he was wet for about 12 hours or something. Yeah. It's insane. Good sport.
Oh, actually, no. I do have a fun fact.
Oh, do you?
I do. The tapestry has changed.
The tapestry has changed to reflect Jaehaerys.
Yeah.
And the rat catchers.
Yeah.
It was, it was quite brutal, wasn't it?
It was.
And I believe, we're going to keep seeing it added to it. It was after we'd watched it was when we watched last week's episode, I became more aware of the threads still weaving their way down the line as the House of the Dragon title comes up.
Yeah.
As if to indicate there will be more.
Yep.
So, yes, very well spotted. Thanks for bringing that up. Why is that not in my notes? Okay, so the IMDb fun facts go as follows. This is the first appearance of Gail Rankin as Alice Rivers in the book. Alice is a figure of mystery, and different sources can't even agree on her age. She possesses magical abilities, and her true intentions aren't clear.
Yeah, apparently she was the daughter of Lionel Strong, a bastard daughter, mother unknown. Was it a serving girl? Apparently she was the wet nurse for Larys and Harwin, and apparently she bathed in virgin blood.
To keep her youthful looks.
Yeah.
She is believed to be around 40 at this point, although people say that she is actually older.
Yeah.
And that the bathing in blood is what keeps her youthful. But people also say that maybe she nursed Lionel.
Ah.
And that Lionel is not her, she's not the bastard daughter of Lionel, that maybe she's even older than that.
Very possibly.
So, Alice Rivers is shrouded in mystery, and there is a lot more to come with her, I believe. So we're keeping our information on her tight-lipped at the moment because they've not given much away. We didn't really talk about her during the episode, actually, now that I think about it. There was that very ominous line of, "You're going to die here." I mean,
and that's all we've seen of her.
That's, yeah, that and a couple of dirty looks in the dining room.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, "You're going to die here." I mean, what do you take from that? I think that she means, I don't think she means literally there.
Mm-hmm.
Literally there in that spot. Because, well, if I say why I think, then that would be a spoiler, so I won't. But I don't think she means in the spot. I think she means in the vicinity.
Yeah.
So we shall see, though. We shall see.
We shall.
So, the next fun fact of IMDb is the brothel scene caused controversy due to showing a woman performing fellatio on a man's erect penis. The erect penis was a prosthetic. Yes, we did think so. But,
oh, thank goodness for that.
So, can't wait for next week's episode. So, before we go, a couple of questions. What was your favourite scene?
Oh, my favourite scene was Bella on her dragon.
Right, okay, fab. My favourite scene was dinner at Harrenhal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Favourite performance?
Oh, has to be Larys.
Larys, brilliant. I'm going to take Simon Strong then.
Cool.
Right, okay. And the biggest surprise?
Oh, biggest surprise was the appearance of Alice Rivers.
Right, cool. Mine's was the blowy. That shocked me. It really did. I did not expect that. Right, well, that brings us to the end of our show. So at this point, we are working up to doing some listener feedback, etc. at the end of the season. If we get enough, we may even just do a feedback episode. So it'd be great to hear from you guys, and we will hopefully be able to use your comments on the show. It'd be great to hear everybody else's opinions rather than just being ours. Yeah. I want to hear if you agree with us. I want to hear if you totally disagree. We want it all.
We do.
Absolutely. It's all in good fun. So in the meantime, Emma is going to tell you how you can contact us.
Before I do that, we will see you next week for the Red Dragon and the Gold.
Yes, we will. So, here's how you can contact us.
If you want to contact us, you can head over to our website, theunrealhour.com, where you can find links to our social media and Patreon to review, like, follow and subscribe. You can also leave us a voice message that we may use on the show. Finally, you can email us at talk@theunrealhour.com.
And if you like what we're doing here and you want to support the show, then you can visit patreon.com/theunrealhour, where you can subscribe for ad-free listening, early access episodes, and exclusive content. If you don't want to commit to a monthly subscription, then you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/theunrealhour. All of your donations will go back into the show to cover costs and keep the lights on. Once again, thanks for listening. Until next time,
keep it unreal.